Hello, hello. Welcome. Good to have you. I don't know if you will be able to chat, but we're just starting our live session. And I Hello, Bill. How are you? Good to have you. And I'm wondering if you have any questions because my goal is today to get connected to my followers here on live and answer your question. So, hi, I'm all the way here in Atlanta, Georgia. Let me know where you are and what I'm up to. I'm here to share my knowledge with regards to relationships, spirituality, feminine and masculine balance. So if you have any questions regarding relationship or anything else, welcome to ask me. That's what we're gonna do here. Hello, hello from Ohio, Colorado. Good to have you. I'm all the way here in Atlanta, Georgia. And if you can again share where you live, what you're up to, and oh, meet Michigan, fantastic. And again, I am here to empower you, my friends, to share my knowledge, spiritual knowledge, psychological, and balance between men and women, feminine and masculine balance, and how to achieve the harmony between men and women. So that's what I'm here for. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer as we're going to spend 30 to 45 minutes together today. And for those of you who are again in the United States, happy 4th of July weekend. And so let's see, what is your answer? How do I get my love life back with my wife? Bill, can you share a little bit more details? What's going on? How long you been married? And what do you mean by having love life back? Do you mean intimacy? And do you support the giga? Mm, No, I'm not gonna answer that question. Sorry, guys. Please shout me out. It is my birthday. Happy birthday, Jade. Wish you happiness, fun, lots of friends, and a good time. But let me get back to Bill. Bill, can you share a little bit more about your wife? What's really going on? At least so I'm not just going to be talking about hypothetical things, but really specific to what's going on. When you mean love life back, do you mean the intimacy gone, the feelings are gone? Are you guys fighting? Are you guys living separately in a separate bedrooms? What's really going on? If you don't mind sharing, 2 years, and we have been trying to have a baby, and the love life just feels different. Got it. Uh, and for those of you who are interested where I'm from, I am originally from Azerbaijan. It's between Turkey and Russia. So I do speak Russian and Turkish besides English. All right, so let me answer that. Well, first of all, it might sound unfair and maybe even um, somewhat sweet bitter because not everyone is meant to have kids. And this is might be painful because if some of the traumas, especially childhood traumas, haven't been resolved, I've noticed because I worked for 21 years as a counselor and hypnotherapist. If I see a woman has a very bitter relationship with mother, or she's still angry with her dad, usually women who haven't healed their traumas cannot have children. Sometimes it could be physiological, but I would say 90% of the women that I saw that couldn't have kids, it was so connected to their psychology, to their traumas. And so, what I would recommend, rather than trying because you've been trying for 2 years, find a therapist who can help you, who can help your wife to overcome some of the traumas that are still lingering, and that is what's preventing her from having kids. Again, only if you already solved all the problems and physiologically you're both healthy and you can have kids, but something is still not working out. Most likely, it's again 90% of the time, it's connected to a woman's traumas. 10% could be connected to you as well. Because sometimes men will say, yeah, I wanted to have babies because wife wants to. But if a man deep down doesn't want to have kids, and there's blockage there because he did not get enough love from his parents, he feels psychologically that he needs love, then if you both gonna have kids, of course you're gonna pay even more attention to the baby rather than you. And that's how sometimes men prevent subconsciously to have children. And so it's a very deep psychological thing that I would say it's better to resolve it with therapists. But I don't know whether you're going to find a really good therapist that will help you, because I don't work one-on-one anymore. But I do help women to resolve those things on the retreats, which I do too. Very seldom, 3 retreats per year. One is coming up on July 17th in North Carolina. So you can ask your wife if she's open, interested, and ready to join my retreat. I have only one spot left where we're going to address that. But I am compassionate for you if you both want to have it and are not capable. Because again, until the trauma is healed, that is going to prevent you to having babies. So I hope that I answered your question. I have a girlfriend, but she lives far away. My sister is pregnant. Wonderful, congratulations. Now, with regards to the long distance relationship, my friends, uh, I say that from what I observed in 21 years, only 5% of all relationships that are long distance actually gonna happen. 95%, what it really means is that neither you or neither her are really ready for a serious committed relationship. Because if you're in a long distance and you get together, let's say only on the weekends, which is best case scenario, but usually long distance, that means you meet each other once a month or every 2 months. That means you get together for a weekend, you have um, great time doing things. It's like a mini vacation. But when you're gonna really move in together, that's gonna be a completely different thing. And that means there's so plenty of men and women in your town, in your state, in your country, but you're choosing someone who is 2, 3, 5, or 10 hours away, whether it's a driving distance or flying distance. All it means, again, that means you haven't healed your traumas, and that's why you are finding someone safe and someone far that you can really get together only once a month or once every 2 months or only one day during the weekend, whatever that is. That means you're still scared to really connect and build intimate and real relationship. So please think about it, whether it's only you or it's only her, but most likely both of you are still having unresolved either your previous triggers and pain and traumas from previous relationship, or again, most likely it's coming and lingering from your childhood. So I would highly also recommend for you to address that, because we as a human beings, my friends, let me just be authentic. All our life, we're trying to escape the pain. We do. We are scared to get hurt. We are scared to get lied and cheated on and get betrayed. And that's why we are trying to protect ourselves, trying to guard our hearts and ourselves. And at the end of the day, the more we're trying to protect ourselves, the more we're going to attract pain. Because the solution of running away from pain and finding the strategies, it's just the pain gonna continue to show up, either with this person or the next one and the next one and the next one. So it is impossible really to escape the pain. And the more you're gonna escape the pain, the more you're gonna be really, in a way, you think protecting your heart. But your heart in that space is really bleeding, because all heart wants to do is to connect, is to love. be friends with someone, be in a relationship with someone, and really love and spread the love. But if you're constantly guarding, that means you're really hurting inside. And so, again, escaping the pain is not alive. You're really living in a state of fear. And the reason why I do what I still do is doing the retreats and talking to you and recording all of the videos is I'm trying to help as much as possible for men and women to go through healing. Because until we personally take responsibility and go through healing, we're pretending that we are happy alone. We, as a human beings, not meant to be alone. We're pack animals, like wolves, like dolphins, like sheep, like cows. We meant to be in a herd. We're meant to be together. We're meant to love and share and follow our nature. And what is our nature as a woman? To love, to connect, to build connection, friendship, love, nurture, take care of our kids, take care of ourselves, take care of our man. And man is your duty to provide, lead, and protect as much as you're resisting it, as much as you're saying that in the modern society it's impossible to live on one income. It is very possible. It's just, of course, when people are hurt and they're traumatized, they will try to go to work, to make money, especially women, that's what they do now, in order to avoid healing, in order to avoid the pain, in order to turn to these material things that brings very, very temporary happiness for a minute or two or a day or two, but then it goes back to the same loneliness, to the same emptiness, to the same resignation, because again, as a human beings, we are not meant to be alone. We are not meant as a woman go to work for 40 hours a week and then be in a space of femininity, softness, gentleness, and kindness, and share the love and connect people and share our happiness. When a woman goes to work for 40 hours a week, she violates herself. And when she violates herself, obviously she's going to be bitter, resigned, angry, and she's going to violate you, and she's going to violate your children by dumping all of her stresses that she accumulated 8 hours a day from work, driving to work, driving home, and working there and making money. And then all of her stress is going to spill out back to you and back on the children. And that's why a woman is not designed to work. She can work few hours a day, few hours a week if she wants to, not because she needs to make money, but because that is her calling, because she wants to connect to people, because she likes flowers or connecting with women or connecting with elderly or children, doing the education, being teacher, whatever that she likes, but only for a few hours a day or a week, not from the space that she has to help her man. And that is very hard for modern society to comprehend this message. We're resisting it 100%. Women resisting it because they're scared to be vulnerable and depend on men. And men are resisting it because men don't want to provide, lead, and protect women, because men are now scared. What if she gonna take half of my income, home and cars and etc.? And what did I work for? And I get it. But this is all part of this pain and fear and guilt and shame. And until we heal, we're just blocking and walking around scared. Oh, you don't hurt me, and you don't hurt me. No one please hurt me because I can only protect myself. That's all I'm responsible for. But in a relationship, it doesn't work like that. So I hope what I'm sharing makes sense. And maybe not, because it's advanced conversation. So let me look at your questions, see if I see any other questions. We both want to to take the next step in. How much is it? Okay, Bill, if you're still here, it's only 4 days and 3 nights retreat in North Carolina on July 17th through July 20th. You can go on my website to visit. and see more information. But if she's gonna stay alone in the room, I believe it's 1450. If she's gonna be with a roommate, then it's only 1250. It's very reasonable retreat. And if this is something that is really important for her and she's ready for it, she needs to reach out to me, because the last registration for this retreat is this coming Thursday. So she still have only 3 days to register. Good question. If we feel fear, does this mean we should not date? Uh, that's a good question. It's not that, as a human beings, we need fear. Because if we don't have fear, you're going to be running through the highway, not even worrying that a car going to hit you. If you don't have a fear, you're going to face a bear in the forest, and of course you're going to get easily killed. So we do need fear. But what's amount of fear that's going to keep you healthy, emotionally healthy? If it's this much, it's one thing, we need it. But when it's this much, you're really violating yourself, and you're really violating a person that you're with. Because maybe your ex-girlfriend cheated on you and lied to you, but now because you haven't healed, you're looking through the filter at all other women or all other guys, if you're a woman, that everyone gonna cheat on you in the future, and you're guarding your heart. And that's not fair to you, because your heart wants to love, your heart wants to connect, and this person that you're dating gonna feel that fear. And if the person is emotionally healthy and they're gonna sense this fear, they're gonna move on. But if the person is also scared of being hurt, they're gonna stay with you. And then both of you walking around guarded and pretending that you love each other and you want to be with each other, but really you're walking like this and looking at each other through the filter. You're not even seeing each other. You're looking at each other, really waiting when someone else, this partner that you're dating, gonna hurt you. And what kind of life is that if you're constantly in a state of waiting until someone gonna hurt you? And so it is our responsibility to nurture and heal our fear, our pain, our resentment, our bitterness, until we start dating, in order for us to really experience happiness, for us to experience love. Because we're not meant to be single and alone. We all want love. We all want happiness. But we gotta also earn this happiness and love by constantly investing into ourselves. And how do we invest in ourselves? We're learning about our nature, whether you're a man or a woman, and you're learning about the nature of the opposite sex. Because we are the same creatures, we're human beings, but we're not the same, we're not similar, we're very different. And in order for you to experience again happiness and love, you gotta heal. You owe that to yourself. All right, let's see if you have other questions. Thank you for your wisdom. You're welcome, happy dog. So, any more questions, my friends? No? Then I wanted to talk about the topic also of boundaries, which I'm gonna lead on the next Feminine Circle in 3 weeks. And also I'm gonna lead this program in 4 weeks, and it's gonna be 3.5 hour program. Because the reason why we actually get hurt in a relationship is because we lack boundaries. And what does it mean to really have boundaries? Let's say hypothetically, you guys are very sexual creatures. Let's admit it. You think about sex, if not 1,000 times a day, definitely 100 to 200 times a day. A woman smells, she passed by, you thought about it, you look at the movie or a video clip, or you again see someone driving by and she has beautiful smile or hair or beautiful body, and you think about it. And so for you, sexual intimacy is a must. It's important for you, and I get it. For women, some masculine women are very sexual in nature because they become more and more becoming like you. They work hard and they need to release their tension, that stress that they accumulated throughout the day, and they either turn to alcohol, they turn to food, or they turn like you to sex in order to release the tension. And you will think, wow, that's great. Yeah, on one hand, it's great because their sexuality is high. But at the same time, once you start dating these masculine women who are working hard, they're independent, they have their high income, but 2, 3 months later, if not 2, 3 weeks later, you see how bossy she is, how anxious, stressed, or depressed she is. And then slowly you're losing your sexual desire towards her. Because again, she is so in a masculine, and that is not sexy. Because that becomes slowly a relationship between a son and a mother, where you become a son and she becomes a mother and she's bossing you around. And so, going back to the boundaries, when you, as a man, dating a woman who is bossing you around and you're not putting the boundaries, what is not unacceptable on how she talks to you and what she's bossing you around, she will start losing the interest towards you, and you will start losing the interest towards her. And if you're a woman and if you're dating, and let's say you know in your gut that you don't want to have sexual intimacy until you get engaged or married, which I highly recommend, because realistically, when you're dating even 2 or 3 months and you had 6 or 8 dates with a man or a woman, you're still strangers. You don't really know each other. And this is your principle. And if you're communicating no, that you are not having sex before engagement or marriage, and a man is violating you and demanding it, and if you will sleep with him, that's when the boundaries are out. And when the boundaries are out, you're gonna feel resentment, bitterness, sadness, pain, and at the end of the day, you're not gonna feel safety and respect, neither for him, neither for you. So, for each one of us, whether you're a man or a woman, boundaries are your self protection. If you don't protect yourself, you don't respect yourself. If you don't respect yourself, no one else gonna respect you. And the boundaries are also about self-love. If you don't have boundaries, that means you have low self-esteem. You allow people to do whatever that they want to do with you. They can call you at 1 o'clock in the morning, or they can ask you last minute out, and you will go on this last minute out on a date, and all of that gonna turn into, again, not respecting yourself and not loving yourself. And whether you're a man or a woman, when someone is crossing the boundaries with you because you are lacking principles and values, this relationship is already gonna fail, because the safety is number one foundation for any relationship to be sustained. And what I've noticed, whether you're a man or a woman, right now in the modern society, people don't have principles, they don't have values, and they definitely don't have boundaries. And what at the end is the boundaries? Let's say right now, you and I are sitting in a restaurant. And let's say, hypothetically, we're not in a restaurant, we're sitting down in an open field in the park, and we're both thirsty. And in the middle, there's this cup of water. You and I are thirsty. And so you take the water, you fully drink it, and then you ask me, oh, you're thirsty as well? So, in this regard, you are winning. You got the water. I am losing. And that means I'm gonna be bitter, resigned, and I'm really gonna, in the background, hate you because you did not even offer me a glass of water. Different scenario, there's a glass of water. You tell me, would you like to drink? And you giving me this glass of water. I'm drinking it fully, And then now you've lost and I won. This is also not a scenario where there is a harmony in a relationship between a man and a woman. So I share and I recommend in every relationship, in every friendship, to split this water 50-50. So therefore, you win and I win. And therefore, no one is thirsty in the park while we're hiking, or we're not thirsty or hungry in a relationship. There always have to be win-win. But in our modern society, we're living mainly like narcissists. We only care about me. And as long as you care only about yourself and the other person is losing, there will not be happiness, there will not be love, there will not be intimacy, there will not be trust and communication. Because we gotta always seek how can we create 50-50 win. Right now in the morning, I woke up, I did my meditation, I cooked breakfast for my husband, for myself, and our son. And because everybody eats different food, now I can spend 20-30 minutes with you, and my husband is cutting the grass, and then he's gonna be changing the oil in the car. Everyone has their own responsibility and duty in a relationship. Then there's always gonna be win-win. My husband goes to work, he provides, leads, and protects me and our son. And in the process, I'm relaxed, I'm happy. I can cook 3 times a day, 3 different meals because I'm vegetarian. My husband eats steaks, a lot of meat, and our son likes waffles, pancakes, pasta, and certain fruits and very little veggies. So we all eat 3 different meals. And I can organize home, I can nurture home, I can take our son to different sports activities, to the pool, teach him, play with him, do the play dates with him and our friends, and everyone is happy. That's what it takes to create harmony in a relationship. But if you're looking from the space, no, I want you to go to work as a woman so you can help me. A woman will do that. She will sacrifice and she will go to work. But in the background, she will never feel safe. She will never feel fully protected. And if she doesn't feel safe and protected, her bitterness and her anger are gonna continue to grow. And what will happen? If you have kids, she's gonna put her anger and resentment towards your kids. If you don't have kids, she's gonna put it back on you. And sometimes woman does both. She puts it on you, she puts it on kids, and she continues to poison herself. And that's the way the dynamic works. And so it's for you to figure out how can you create the dynamic where everyone wins. You win, your children win, and your wife or your girlfriend wins. Then everyone is happy. We gotta continue to detach from this selfishness. Because relationship, a lot of times, it's about sacrifice and being of service. But if you don't love yourself, if you don't have boundaries, how can you sacrifice and be of service to your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend? You're always going to be seeking what can you get out of it. And again, the selfish nature comes from the lack of love towards you. Because when the person is really healed and happy, you just spread happiness and love. And if you're bitter and resentful and angry and hurt, you're like a virus spreading the pain, resentment, hate, and anger. And so that's why we owe that to ourselves to heal in order to be happy. And when we're happy, everyone else around is happy. Question from Amy. Let me read. Why is it so hard to be stay-at-home mom? 1 second. I get it. So why is it hard to be stay-at-home mom? I think going to work is easier and makes me feel stronger and organized than staying at home. I get it. And I will say, yes, going to work is much easier because you get immediate gratification because next week or following week you get a paycheck. Here you went to work for 8 hours and you get a paycheck. Reward is right there. And being a stay-home mom and wife, you don't get results immediately. But in 5, 10, 15 years, when you're gonna look at your child or your children and seeing being emotionally and physically healthy, because you cannot give love to your child after they're 5 and 7 years old. They don't need it. They start to slowly but surely to separate from you. They need your attention, nurture, love, and safety from 0 to 5. And then no one else at 10, 15, and 20 years old can give that to them. Not a boyfriend, not a husband, not a wife, whatever that they lacked. The reason why people having depression, anxiety, and all of the mental health problems is because their parents did not give them the safety and love they needed from 0 to 5. And so right now you can make a choice. Well, I am more important. It feels much better because going to work, you are actually socializing, connecting, getting the paycheck that you can spend on clothes or vacation or whatever. And being at home, it's really being of service, really following your woman's nature. And woman's nature for us, why we're born. We're born to connect with people, to spread love and happiness, and to really give birth to children and to raise them to be happy people. But in the Western society, especially with the equality and feminism, we're all equally important, but we have different duties and responsibilities. And if you're gonna neglect your children and send them to daycare, let the strangers for $10 take care of them and change diapers, and you think they're gonna give them love? No, absolutely not. The best thing they can do is change them diapers on time, which I doubt it also, and feed them. But that's about it. But children need your love, your breast milk, excuse my language, and not the formula. And if you're gonna lack doing that, you're gonna pay that 10, 15, 20 years later when you're gonna see your kids dealing with depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety, and etc. Until when you're gonna see them turning to alcohol or weed or drugs to suppress their lack of love. And that's why they're running around anxious and stressed and depressed. And that is so hard to comprehend that you investing right now time being at home as a stay-home mom and stay-home wife into their future. Because when your kids are happy when they're 10, 20, and 30 years old, you will be happy. And then you're giving spreading your genes into the happy generation of also grandchildren and great grandchildren because you've done the right thing. And this is very hard to be with. Yes, it is 100% sacrifice. I sacrificed my practice where I was working only 5 hours a week, making, I'm not going to even say my high income, very high income, more than surgeons and attorneys were making in order to be stay-home mom, in order to raise a happy son, in order to really flow as a woman instead of constantly chasing the material goods or constant gratification of money. Money is never going to give you the happiness as the happiness we're meant to experience at home with our husband, with our children. Yes, the problem's gonna be there in order for us to face it and overcome them. But being at work, it's just gonna continue running like a chipmunk, or how do you say this saying in English? Constantly chasing and not being really satisfied at all. It's an illusion. It's easier, but it's not the right path for us as a woman. Men are born to conquer the challenges and go to work in order to provide, lead, and protect. That's their roles and that's their duties. But when we do the roles of a man, provide, lead, and protect, when we're married, we're violating ourselves and we're violating our men and our children. So I know it's a very hard concept because in the Western society, that's not what we taught. Taxpayers wants your money. They're brainwashing us women with marketing in education, movies, college, books, all of it. It's all about go to work in order to experience equality, like you're going to be happy. Yes, we're equal in importance, but we are not meant to go to work 40 hours a week, because what it's costing us later in your 30s, especially in your 40s, 50s, your health gonna deteriorate on all levels, on the physical, on emotional, on mental, and even spiritual. You will become very sickly. And I know that you don't like to hear it because it's a very painful truth, but it's the fact. And that's why a lot of men in the United States, without you knowing, are seeking women in Asia and seeking women in Russia and Ukraine, because women in the Asian and Slavic cultures, not all, but a lot of them, especially if they're in the countryside, still value those traditions and principles. I wasn't like that. I was career oriented, very masculine in energy, and I got to the point where my health fully deteriorated because I was violating myself. And then at 2020, I stopped working fully altogether. But even in 2019, I realized I'm constantly having migraine headaches. I'm constantly having digestive problems. And in 2020, during the COVID year, on top of it, I started having migraine headaches and panic attacks. And I was even throwing up before sessions. My body said enough. I had enough. So I had to go through it myself physically in order to get the point. Everything I was learning in spiritual knowledge, that we're not designed to work, but it didn't hit me until I start deteriorating fully in my health physiologically and psychologically. And usually that's what happens. Most of us need to get to that point in order to say, you know what, it's not working. And I don't know whether my message gonna wake you up now, or you gotta get to that point where your health gonna deteriorate in order to see that whatever we're taught in a feministic society, it's not working. And of course, I am not here to make you do anything, right? It's fully your choice, and you gotta follow whenever you're ready. So let me see what questions you have, ladies. How do you deal with a man, woman that is materialistic? That's a great question. If you're materialistic, you're going to be attracting materialistic people. And no matter how much you might say, I'm not materialistic, if you're truly not, you're not going to be with materialistic person. That's it. I have a friend. She lives overseas. And she constantly tells me that she wants to live in a farm and raise chickens, goats, and have her own raised garden. But she lives in a city, in a high rise, and goes out twice a week. And she lives in the Middle East in a mm, very materialistic society and materialistic city. So her actions and her lifestyle is not aligning. And our actions speak louder than words. If you are dating or in a relationship with materialistic person, that means you're still materialistic person. I am still, we're living in a material world, so we have to deal with it. I would not say that I'm 100% not materialistic, because if I would move to the monastery and live there. And I have to acknowledge that, yes, I'm also materialistic, but if I have right now, let's say, $50,000 in my bank account, I would not buy myself a new car. I'm going to continue driving my 10-year-old car, and I'm not going to spend money on Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Versace, or any purses and things like that. I will go to Africa, and I would say probably $40,000 I would donate to children and wildlife, because that's what I'm passionate about it. But I'm at the point where I get the money doesn't fulfill me. What fulfills me is making a difference in the world. That's what I feel, the fulfillment and happiness. Already gone through that stage where I needed the money in order to travel the world and buy myself all of these nice material things. That was 10, 12 years ago. Now I'm at the different stage. So what I would suggest to you, rather than focusing on your man or your woman who is materialistic, concentrate on yourself. Because sooner or later, as you're detaching from material things, you will notice that your partner is also detaching from it as well. Because you cannot be, let's say, a monk and dating someone who has to have Versace and Dolce and Gabbana. It will not be a match. So usually vibrationally, we are with a man or a woman who is at the same vibrational level. That's all. As you're gonna start raising your vibration, this other person gonna fall off and you're gonna attract someone else at your level, or this person gonna start rising vibrationally to match you. That's the way it works. So I hope I answered that question. Next question. But how to be scheduled at home and don't get lost or depressed due to the social isolation and every day the same work? Uh, well, like you see, I don't work. I run the Feminine Circle for women where we get together every other Sunday and I lead topic for an hour, hour and a half. And then I retreat. I do retreats 2, 3 times a day, a week, 2, 3 times a year. But I have my girlfriends. I get together with them for lunches or dinners. We go on the weekends to parks or the lakes, or we travel together. You gotta have a society and friends who have the same lifestyle. If you're just gonna be at home working and being just a mom, yes, you're gonna be bored out of your mind and you'll go crazy. You gotta have a structure. That's why I created the Feminine Circle, and right now, women from different parts of the world. We have women from 18 different countries, but I've noticed women already from New Jersey and New York City area. There's already 5 women. They sometimes get together as well in person now. It's not just online. So the more you're gonna start changing and becoming the soft and feminine and compassionate and kind and loving, you're gonna start vibrating and attracting feminine women to you and your life. And then you guys, girls, gonna be getting together and doing things, because yes, just being a stay-home mom and working, it's very, very, very isolated, lonely, and boring. You gotta have your hobbies, and you gotta go either to yoga or Zumba or dancing or some kind of hobbies and activities 2, 3 times a week, and getting together with your friends. And friends, maybe female, so could be. I don't believe in relationship. I mean friendship between man and woman. You gotta have women in your life, and the more women you're gonna have in your life, the more vibrant your life. But women who concentrating on work, they're gonna have friends who are concentrating on work, and you will not have energy to get together, because when you get home, the best thing you can do is cook dinner, eat, maybe go to the bar in order to suppress your stress and drink alcohol, or go to the pool or something, but you will not have energy to really connect, dance, sing, draw, and really spend good quality time with your girlfriends. It's impossible. It's a life on a survival. And we're not born to live life on a survival. We're meant to be happy. So I hope that answers your questions. Any other questions, friends? I see we have 7 people. So again, I'm here to answer your question with regards to relationship, dating, your spiritual flow, and feminine and masculine dynamics. So if you have any questions while I'm here, I would love to answer. Oh, hi. Hi, Simona. Good to have you, Simona. So while I'm here, if you have any questions, I'm gonna stay for another 5 minutes. Let me know whether it's about dating, relationship, marriage, or again, feminine and masculine balance or spiritual journey. Maybe some of you who are new and you are not in my feminine circle, you can join. And again, ladies, for those of you who are available, from July 17th through July 20th, I'm gonna do first retreat here in the United States, because I'm usually traveling internationally. I love United States, I'm living here, but the moment I'm out of United States, I really come alive, because I really love to travel. And what you're gonna get out of the retreat here in United States, it's fully concentrated on healing. All of us, let's be authentic, carrying resentment, pain, anger from the childhood, from our previous relationship, from our current relationship or marriage. And if you're ready, ask yourself from 1 to 10, and the answer is 8, 9, 10, to heal, I highly recommend for you to join the retreat that is happening literally in 2 weeks. 4 days, 3 nights, where we're gonna do psychosomatic healing practices. It's very powerful. It's not like a behavioral therapy where you go to counselor and talk, because I have 21 years experience in Gestalt therapy, in family constellation therapy, in psychoanalysis. You're gonna get an expert who really gonna help you to heal your traumas. And so I highly recommend for you to spend this time with me. All right, question: how to deal with people thinking we need to work? Friends, the truth is, again, when you have low self-esteem, you will attract men with low self-esteem. And that's how it looks like. You're attracting men who thinks that you gotta go to work, or men who will think, why do I need to get married? It's not important, it's just a piece of paper. We can just live together and have sex together, and maybe we'll have kids or maybe not have kids. All of that indication of a low self-esteem. The more you're going to work on yourself, the higher your self-esteem will go. Your man going to start rising and changing as well. And either he will fully accept that this is how he likes you now, working only part-time, becoming softer and kinder, because you cannot change overnight. If you're going to tell a feminine man now, I'm going to quit and stay home, be a stay-home mom, he will leave you. No changes happens overnight. It takes time. You're not going to become feminine overnight. It will take you maybe a year, maybe 2, maybe even 3. I've been on this journey for 12 years. I'm still peeling off some of the layers that I've inherited from my very masculine mom. And again, this society, feministic society, shapes us. We're very malleable as women. And if we're hearing all of the message that you have to go to work, you have to make money, you have to do 50-50 with men, we're becoming. But what we're eating, what we're hearing, what we're watching, what especially men want from us. But all of this indication is that you're right now degraded into masculine energy and having low self-esteem, and he is degraded to feminine energy and having a low self-esteem, because a healthy masculine man who is a provider, leader, and protector would not want you to work, because he understands the value of you being soft, kind, feminine, gentle, and giving him this flow of love. Because you're becoming like a muse. In your energy, he becomes stronger, and his income doubles and then triples. Thanks to you. My husband is at the point where when in 2020 I said I'm not going to work anymore, every day for first year he was acknowledging me. Thank you for trusting me and not working anymore. Now he does it every week, sometimes every 2 weeks, because he sees that his income continues to grow and grow, and that he trusts in himself now, that he can provide fully for me and our son. And men, by the way, have to provide basic needs: pay for mortgage, for insurance, for food, and basic clothing. No Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and Chanel, and etc. And even vacation, it's a luxury item. But my husband at the point where he even provides for me 4 times traveling internationally per year. But who made him this successful financially is me. And he acknowledges that. And how do we women achieve that? By us doing spiritual practices. When you do either prayer or meditation on a daily basis, whatever that is important to you, you will achieve through your husband. For me, it's important. I love to travel. Whether I'm doing the retreat or whether I'm going on vacation, energetically, United States is not my country. I love it here because my husband and my son loves it. But energetically, I am coming alive when I'm in Turkey, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Mexico, or Russia. I love traveling internationally. But I don't have to now work and suffer in order to travel internationally. I just meditate, and my husband makes all the income, and he sends me to vacations or for me to lead the retreats. Do you see how it works? But we as a human beings are, especially women, we're lazy. Ladies, we are. We like to complain, we like to criticize, and we want them to change without changing us. And so, doing the spiritual practices and reading spiritual books, I got let go of being attached to changing my husband. I started working on changing myself. And the more I became feminine, soft, and compassionate, and even more empathic through doing spiritual practices, my husband becomes more and more masculine and better provider and better leader and even stronger protector. That's the way it works. So detach trying to change your man. Work on yourself. And the best way to work on yourself is through spiritual practices. And yes, that means waking up earlier and starting your day with Creator, either praying or meditating. And I'll show you how. Join my feminine circle or start watching for now just my spiritual programs online that is already downloaded here on YouTube. Questions. So let me see. What if your man is being mean, calling us names, bringing up other women that are better than us? Happy dog. All of that is, again, indication of a low self-esteem. If you allow a man, and by the way, lack of boundaries, if you allow your man to call you names once and you don't walk away from it, he's gonna call you again and again and again. And the more you're staying with him, the more you're sending a message to him that it's allowed, that it's fine. I will tell you that if my man will ever call me name, I will leave and I will not come back, maybe for 2 or 3, 4 months until he repent and until I truly feel the impact that he got, that this is so unacceptable. And I will never stand being with a man who violates me physically, emotionally, verbally, sexually, any of that. And if I'll come back and he does it again, I will walk out and never come back. And not gonna even feel bad about it. If you're standing, by the way, talking to a man, don't do this, it hurts me, it's pointless. Men understand the language of action. Talking is cheap. And so you can tell him 100 or 1,000 times that you will leave. But if you're staying, he gets the action that it's okay to do that with you. So if he's talking about other women, comparing you to them, and you stay with him, you're gonna continue doing that. If he beats you and you stand with him, continue to living with him, cooking, having sex with him, he'll continue doing that. If he calls you names and you continue to stay with him, he'll continue doing that. The problem is not him. The problem is that you don't have boundaries and you continue to stay with a man like that. That's why I highly recommend for you to come to my program on August 3rd. It's called Love Yourself by Setting the Boundaries. In that program, 3.5 hours long program, you're gonna learn how to set boundaries and never violate them again. What are the patterns that you've been doing and how to change them and what it will take for you to start putting the boundaries. It's not a free program. It's only $120, but it's worth every penny. I'm doing it very cheap in order for anyone to afford it. Highly recommend for you to join my feminine circle and get that discount. You'll get a lot out of it. But for now, you're going to continue doing that because you have low self-esteem. That's all there is. Thank you for sharing. And I'm very sorry that you're going through it. But again, for now, you're just allowing it. Next question. How to accept fiance who watches porn? Say something or just accept it? Um, hmm, Very good question. If this is not okay for you, for him to watch porn, it goes back to the boundaries. If you say about something and he continues to do that, he's gonna violate your boundaries. Because men usually, again, if you tell him, well, I don't believe in living together and having sex until we get married. But if you're living with him and having sex with him, to him that means you're accepted. And so that's why it is very important for us ladies to have values and principles. If you have values that it's not okay for you to be with a man who watches porn, you gotta walk out of it. You can just say once, I get that you like porn. And I get that you get high out of it. I totally get that. But if the porn is really that important to you, I get it, but I'm out of here. So I'm not gonna ask you to choose between me and porn. I get that it's important to you, but it's not okay with me, and you gotta leave. That's all. And if a man realizes that you are more important to him, and that might take him weeks, not minutes or hours, weeks, to experience life without him, and he really made a decision and taking a choice to stop watching porn, and then bringing you back to his life, you can give him a chance and be with him. But if he ever goes back to porn, if you stay with him, he's gonna continue to violate you. And so here it's very simple, ladies. You gotta know what you can stand and what you can't. And please know that watching porn is also an addiction. Like there's addiction to video games, there's addiction to alcohol, and there's addiction to drugs, there's addiction to porn. Men are getting high, a lot of dopamine from watching porn. And it's not going to be easy for him to just quit and make that choice. He will definitely need some kind of psychological help in order to fully quit watching porn. And now it's up to you to decide, are you going to accept it because your man has this addiction to porn? And then you cannot do anything about it. You can complain or really be quiet, but in the background, internally, you are suffering because you cannot stand it. Or you can move on and make a decision to leave. But please also know the reason why you attracted men with an addiction to porn is because you have also internal problem. And I don't know, maybe you're addicted to wine, maybe you're addicted to sugar, maybe you're addicted to something else or shopping. And that's why you're attracting someone with addiction as well. So concentrate also on healing. So you're gonna stop attracting people with addiction that you don't like. So here it is really the choice that you have to make. But again, concentrate on you and bring the boundaries. If you cannot stand it, move on. Or work on yourself in order to accept this addiction if it's going to be fine with you. For me, that would have been also unacceptable, but I'm not you. Do you get it? So that's a really good question. All right, let's see. Next question. Maybe work on myself and detach from him watching porn. Absolutely. You're already answering the question. Work on yourself, work on your addiction, but also you have to be authentic. For me, I would not accept men who is drinking, who is doing drugs, who is watching porn, or who is, I don't know, what is that? Obviously, drugs. But again, maybe it would be okay for you. Not sure. You have to really discover that for yourself. All right. 5 more minutes, ladies and guys. Maybe you have any other questions. Okay, let me see what Simona asked. How can I help my husband provide and be generous towards me? Um, in order for men to become a really strong providers and protectors, which I shared before I think you joined, Simona, is you gotta become a really feminine, soft woman who is very spiritual in nature. And please know that because I know you and you're working right now, as long as you're going to be working, men looks at you and to them, it's a very clear sign. Why do I have to work and provide for her if she can do it herself? You see, we women think, well, if I'm gonna work, he'll see it's important for me to have Tesla and Louis Vuitton and have a Gucci and vacation, and I can motivate him to work like that so he can provide for me. No, it doesn't motivate. Men don't think like that. How they view you, if you're doing yourself, he can actually relax and he can do less. And I say to women who have sometimes 3, 4 jobs or working 60, 70 hours a week, I say, until you lay down on a sofa and stop doing this 40, 60, 70 hours work, your man not gonna get up. Because some women are complaining, why my man doesn't work for 2 years? Because you're doing the job. You're doing the job not of one person, you're doing the job of 2 or 3 people. And so, but the generosity itself comes from when a woman is generous, but woman is generous with her feeling of love, compassionate, and softness. When you're happy and when you're generous again with your love and empathy and compassion and softness, men become generous with their financial status. They start giving you gifts and provide. But first, Simona, you're asking about step 20. First thing first, you got to start detaching from working. Because right now, income is more important to you than your softness and femininity. And I get for women who are working and attached to material things and financial flow, this kind of feels impossible. Like, what, my man gonna provide for me? Yes, your man gonna provide for you because being stay-home mom and wife, you really have a very high self-esteem knowing that your husband gonna provide for you. But in order to even to get to that high self-esteem, you really gotta work on yourself. See, most of the women want to change their husbands and their men, but we gotta start working on ourselves. Start decreasing from masculine energy to feminine energy, and that will take time. Nothing changes overnight, so just you know that. The more you'll become feminine, the more your man gonna start stepping into masculine and becoming the provider, leader, and protector that you want him to be. But stop concentrating on him. The changes happens first with you. So I hope that I answered that question. Really good one. Let's see. Any more questions, ladies? I see for now that we have more ladies in the group. So while I'm here, please take advantage of it. Okay, somebody asked me earlier, we both want to be, no, I already answered that. So I'll give you ladies a few more minutes. And if there's no more questions, I'm gonna move on. And we'll wish you a wonderful the rest of the Sunday. Let's give it a few more minutes. And for those of you, again, who are not in my feminine circle, we have bi-weekly meetings. It's absolutely free. On next Sunday, a friend of mine, Gabby, gonna be reading a book, Fascinating Womanhood, where you don't even have to purchase a book, and it's very, very feminine in nature. And the next meeting with me is on July 27th, where we're gonna talk about boundaries. And then the program, 3.5 hours program on how to set the boundaries and how to detach from violating yourself anymore. I highly recommend for you to join that program on August 3rd, where we're gonna go into 3.5 hours with exercising to stop the patterns and stop violation of yourself by not having the boundaries, because that's what we women try to do all the time. We're not trying, we're doing that. We're violating ourselves, and boundaries are important in order to feel safe. This is the main principle in our relationship. No boundaries, no safety. No safety, no happiness. That's how fundamental it is. So let me see if there's any questions. Generous with time and emotions and heart. Generous with time and emotions and heart? Yes. Yes. Generous as a woman. Um, the more you are loving, the more you're kind. And to some men, your generosity, meaning you kiss him, you hug him, you flirt him, you feed him, you rubbing his shoulders when he come home and you acknowledge him for working as he's a provider and protector. Things like that. The more you're generous with your kindness and love, but you cannot fake it. The power is not in the doing. The power is in our feminine being, but you cannot fake being. Just having hair, makeup, and beautiful dress, it's not femininity. Femininity is something that starts to arise as we're doing spiritual practices because we start peel off our masculine energy. And that's what I mean by generous being loving, kind, compassionate, soft, and feminine. But you cannot fake it until you're going to start doing the work and becoming then being feminine, being soft, being compassionate. And then his protection going to start rising as he going to become more and more masculine. That's the way we reflect each other as a man and a woman. With that said, ladies and guys, whoever joined me today, thank you for being in this conversation. Namaste and have a beautiful Sunday. And bye from Atlanta, Georgia. Look forward to seeing you in the women's healing retreat for those who are coming, or in my feminine circle in a few weeks. Bye, friends. Have a beautiful day.